Hey, everyone. I gotta introduce myself. Second place qualifier today. Joey Logano. Joey, what'd you think about your car today? Well,
say more about your car.
Let's say more about my car. What'd you miss in that last lap? Well, let me tell you, it was really close. I wish we got a little bit tight in 1 and 2. I felt like our car was pretty close the run before, and I felt like I just needed to push it harder. This track and qualifying is just all about how bad you want it. I always talk about the guts to brain ratio, and this is definitely one of those tracks you need more guts than brains, so you have to tell yourself to put your foot on the throttle before you really feel like you should. So it's a lot of fun for that reason. Just got a little bit tight in 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 was really good, just not enough to beat Kurt there. But another front row starting spot is our 3rd time in a row here, so that's something to be proud of. Just second always stings just a little bit.
All right, we're done. Thanks. Over here to Reed, and then back over to Tom.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. What was the difference between this week and last week, and how much did the test session help?
Well, a lot. Apparently, I think last week we were 27th qualifying, so we've made some big gains throughout 1 week. I think just last week just really missed the offset of what we needed from race to qualifying, from qualifying practice to actual qualifying. I think we just kind of just missed it a little bit. I think we learned from our mistakes. It's not like we hit on something huge testing yesterday, and we found some things, right? You find some direction on things that are better than others and what this package wants compared to last year's. And, you kind of get some of that stuff, but there's no like, oh my God, we just found 0.3 of a second. It's hard to hit on stuff like that. But I think in general, we just kind of got a better direction on what we need to do with our car. And, I showed today with both Team Penske cars up there in qualifying all day.
Hey,
Go ahead,
Joey.
Tom.
Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. There's supposed to be winds of up to 35, 40 miles an hour on Sunday. Have you guys talked about that, and what kind of issues does that create for you on track?
Yeah, we've talked about it some. It kind of is what it is, though. I don't really know how we're supposed to adjust for that. What we do hope is that it's a constant wind. The gusts of wind is what crashes cars. I think of tracks that are typically windy. You look at Kansas, you look at Texas. They're really windy racetracks. And if it's constant, it's okay. If not, if you get these big gusts, the cars just jump out of the racetrack out of nowhere, and it leaps you into the wall or spins you right out. And it's going to be dangerous out there, treacherous for sure. It's going to be just crazy to think what that wind's going to do. And it's not like we know what direction is going to be blowing on the racetrack, or I don't know, at least. Maybe some weather guy can tell me that, but that would help. But, I just think, it's definitely going to be cars moving around. I'm sure there's going to be cars crashing for that reason. If it's that windy and you get a gust at the wrong time while you're underneath somebody or something like that, it could be big.
Over to Jeff.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Has that ever happened to you, that the wind has crashed you?
Probably. I try to forget that stuff. I know a lot of times it just jumps out of nowhere on you and the car just takes off. And if you're already right on that edge, a lot of times it doesn't take but, a little bit to push you over that edge when you're right on it. So, you think of 30-mile-an-hour winds, that's a lot. That's a big deal. So, the track temp's going to be down as well. So, some grip's going to be gained in the racetrack, but we're also going to be going faster to take advantage of that. So, I think it's just going to, the wind's definitely going to be a big story, as you guys are already on it for sure. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But like I said, it's going to be kind of dangerous for sure.
All right. Do we have a question here?
Tom Zaleski, Iron County Today. Hi, Joey. The way the cars were running today, there was hardly any fall off, and I kept hearing the word ludicrous speed. Do you think that will carry over into Sunday, or how did you feel about the tire drop off and the speeds over the runs?
Well, we seen some fall off yesterday when we were in race trim. Today we unloaded our car and never came out of a qualifying trim, so it's just one lap. We did see some fall off from lap to lap to lap. You didn't tonight because the sun was going down, so the track temp's going down while the tires are wearing, so it kind of equals itself back out. But nothing. I think there's going to be more fall off than there was last year. I don't think it's going to be huge, but I think there'll be, not like last week, but there'll be some fall off for sure.
All right, any final question for Mr. Logano? All righty, thank you for coming in, Joey. Congrats.
Great. Thanks, guys.
We'll next have his teammate.
Want me to introduce them too?
Yeah, come on, come here. Driving the number 2, Mr. Brad Keselowski, who's a 4th place qualifier. Thanks for coming in, Brad.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you felt out there today.
Yeah, well, we had a pretty decent day. Just didn't quite have enough at the end. I probably tried just a little bit too hard. The track keeps picking up as the night kind of came in, and I think you saw the speeds pick up the last few runs. And I just tried a little bit too hard to get that last little bit of pickup, and wasn't quite there. Probably swung a little bit too hard, but all in all, a really good day for us. A pretty good improvement from where we were last week. And look forward to hopefully showcasing that same improvement in the race. Get another win here in Las Vegas. That'd be really special to add another one to the Las Vegas win pile.
All right, questions for Mr. Keselowski. We'll start with Tom Jensen, then we'll come over to Jeff Gluck.
Hi, Brad. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Ask you the same thing I just asked your teammate. How concerned are you about the wind on Sunday?
How concerned? I haven't thought about it. I try not to get too worried about the things that affect everyone equally, and you can't control or really affect. And I know that's a pretty big list, but the wind is one of them. So I honestly haven't thought about it.
Over here.
Geez, Jeff, you're really incognito over there.
He's got
got a black hat on.
He's got that Phil Knight look going.
Wow.
You know?
Trying to protect myself from sunburn.
Witness protection.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Speaking of the wind, how much, I know there's races where it picks up a lot, but when it's really gusty, how much does that affect the car? How much can you feel it? Is it possible that could crash you?
Yeah, when we do kind of our morning rounds, race morning, where we talk to race fans, sponsors, whoever it might be, we always talk about the race cars, and we try to explain aerodynamics to them. And so I'll use some of those cliches with you, Jeff. I think of a race car like an upside-down airplane wing. And instead of making lift, it makes downforce. And just by that simple analogy, the cars are, of course, dramatically affected by air. It's hard to explain to people because you can't see it. And, much like trying to explain the Earth is round and not flat without being able to see it, it doesn't make a lot of sense to people. But the wind moves the cars around dramatically, much like every other aerodynamic force. And the cars rely on, 3 key aero forces, whether it be drag, downforce, or side force, and all 3 of those it's 3-dimensional, right? So that's why it's those 3. And the wind, depending on where it strikes, where it blows you in what direction, can affect all 3 of those. Of course, a headwind down the straightaway can add a lot of drag to a race car and make the motor feel a lot weaker, and a crosswind in a corner can add or take away from the side force on the car. And even to go with that some more is a headwind into the corner can give you a lot of added downforce, or vice versa. A tailwind can take it away. And all 3 of those effects are hard to explain to people as well, because you would think that if the air hits you blowing one way, that it's X advantage, and that if it hits you the exact opposite way, it's the same disadvantage. If it's X and X, but because aerodynamics are inherently inefficient, it always affects you in a worse manner than it does a positive manner. It's impossible for it to be as helpful on one end as it is hurtful on the other end. And it certainly will add another layer or dimension to the race. But like I said to Tom, I feel like it's one of those things that's equal for everyone. You can't change it. And as it pertains to our car, there's not really anything I know that you can do to lessen its effects. So it's one of those things I think you just got to, pull up your pants and get around it. drive around it.
We'll take a question from David over here. Any other questions for Mr. Keselowski?
Out from the Charlotte Observer. So we're probably drilling down way too much on this. Does the new aero package have any effect with high winds?
I guess theoretically it should be less than what it would have been last year. So I think that's probably a good thing.
Question over here to Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Do you feel like you have good throttle response here, or are you going so fast that it's going to be difficult to kind of create your own destiny here on Sunday?
It's the speeds are higher than what we had hoped for, I think, with this package. And as a race car driver, that sounds awful because I always want to go fast, right? But knowing that I'm more than a race car driver, I'm also kind of half entertainer. And we want to be able to put on the best race for our fans. High speeds don't necessarily make the best racing. But I would caution against reading too much into that at this time because from testing we did yesterday and in the months prior with the Goodyear tire test, we did see a lot of fall off in the cars. And although I would say there's very little throttle response right now, once the tires fall off, there's more than enough. So the key is really getting into that tire fall off. And, I'm pretty certain that we're going to see that and it'll take care of itself and we won't have those concerns.
Question here.
Tom Zaleski, Iron County Today. Brad, was the fall off any similar to Atlanta? Worse? A little less?
It's hard to ever get the fall off that Atlanta has, but I think you'll get a good portion of it, probably at least 50 or 60%.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Brad. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.
Just to follow up on something Mr. Keselowski pointed out.
All right, we are now joined by the Coors Light Pole Award winner for the Cobalt 400, the driver of the number 41 Monster Energy Haas Automation Chevrolet, Kurt Busch. Kurt, why don't you just walk us through your pole winning run out there?
Yeah, it was quite the adventurous 3 rounds. We had to make an extra run because of the driver trying to go too hard, give it all that he could, and I just overdrove turn 1 in the second round, and that forced us into a situation to where we had to go make an extra run, and it just made it for an extra pressure cooker situation. But all in all, you just got to play it cool and rely on all of your team members. And the way that the session unfolded for us, we were in perfect position by the time we got to round 3 because we had made it to round 3. And I said, we're either pole or we're 12th. It doesn't matter. And so when you go tell yourself and rely on the car and the grip that the team gave you, you go for it. And it sticks, and usually it's a pole because I have that good of a team from Stewart Haas Racing. The way that the qualifying is getting so tight, everybody's trying to find that 100th of a second, and it comes from all areas. And I'm just blessed to have a great crew and a great group of guys that give it their all, no matter if it's a qualifying session, a race session, each pit stop. Just very happy with the team right now, and we'll quickly celebrate this, but focus on long run speed for tomorrow's practice session. Atlanta didn't go as well as we had hoped as far as the long run speed, but 2 poles in a row, that's a reason to celebrate. It symbolizes our hard work during the off season to come out of the box, sit on 2 poles at 2.5 miles right away.
And a couple more notes before we open up to questions. This is your second pole here at your home track of Las Vegas. And in the first round of qualifying, you set the track record with a lap of 196.378 miles per hour.
Wow, that's fast. As a driver, you don't necessarily know the speed or the lap time. You just go for it. And it's all due to the hard work of the engine shop, thanks to Hendrick Engines, the guys balancing the car, the tire guy, finding that special match set. So all in all, it's really cool to celebrate 2 poles in a row, get a track record, and to do it at your hometown track. Today was a hell of a Friday.
All right, we're going to start up front here with Holly. We'll go to Lee and then go to Tom and Bob.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. You kind of just alluded to this, but you're a former champion. You're sitting on the pole for this race. Your brother is the current champion. How much love do you feel here in Las Vegas?
Vegas is different, and it's our hometown, and we grew up racing on that little 3/8 mile bull ring that's in the shadows of this 1.5-mile track. And every time I come out here, it reminds me of all the people that helped Kyle and I, especially our dad Tom. But the different late model teams, modified teams, the legend car races and all the competitors, the dwarf car days, it's just fun to come back and to reminisce. But ultimately, you got to strap on the helmet, focus on the task at hand, and the team gave me a great car to go for the pole. But it's always special in Vegas. But now I just got to settle in and get the best 267 laps that I can on Sunday and try to drive our Monster Energy Haas Automation Chevy to victory lane. Yeah, the love, the camaraderie, just the overall family and friend aspect. I mean, just walking from victory lane, getting the pole, I saw 3 old crew members and one of the lead track safety crew guys that when I was a volunteer, I volunteered to be on the track safety crew back in the 90s just so I could be closer to the action. And there was Scooter Mancarry to give me a high five.
We'll go to Lee.
Congratulations, Lee Spencer Motorsport.com. What'd you learn between the second run and the third run? Gibson picked something up, you picked something up. What made the difference between coming out and putting that pound-side run? And secondly, do you plan on going to any spring training next week in Phoenix?
Yeah, that second round, I just drove too aggressively, thinking that I needed to run in the 27:30s, 28:30. I needed to run a 30, but it ended up to where I needed to run a high 40. And when you press to run extra speed, it only induces ill-handling characteristics to the car. And so being on the tight side after that round, Gibson just loosened it up, and he said, calm down, and it stuck. I mean, that's the confidence he gave me to go back out there and to reboot and to get that car through the second round. Spring training wise, I didn't messed up my schedule. I'm staying here in Vegas extra, and then I'm leaving Phoenix early to go to LA. Just lots of sponsor things going on with Monster Energy. Haas Automation's headquarters is out in LA, and with all the different things going on here in my hometown, I'm pretty busy this week.
All right, we'll go to Tom, Bob, and then here to the center.
Hi, Kurt. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Congratulations on the pole. 2 quick questions. Do you have any concern about the wind on Sunday? And anything come up with possibility of running Indy this year?
Yeah, I'm looking at the forecast. It looks pretty gnarly for the wind. I mean, that's a West Coast term, gnarly, but the speed of the wind will push us big time, from what I'm gathering, from a southwest direction into turn 3. And so when you have a tailwind multiplied by 30 miles per hour, that's a headwind of 30 miles per hour down the front straightaway. So that's a swing of 60 miles per hour. That's a significant difference that these cars are going to feel. And so we've tested Nashville a few times way back in the day where there was a crosswind of 40 miles per hour. And the downforce increase and decrease is staggering. And we're all going to be out there struggling, fighting, and trying to gain that grip with a tailwind. Second question, I forgot. Nothing new on Indy, but part of the reason of staying here in Vegas extra is a few different meetings have popped up. So we're going to go through some of the meetings, and even bumped into Sam Schmidt today. So there's definitely the interest, the intrigue, but nothing to announce right now.
We'll go to Bob here.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Is there anything that you can take from Atlanta, from where you were on qualifying day to the race, and things that you need better to hear?
It's almost as big of a difference as a quick bowling terminology comparison. When you have all the pins sitting there, you're going for a strike, and when you have a spare to pick up, you almost bowl a different bowling ball. You have a whole different approach, and you have to completely switch gears into what race trim is asking. And so what I hope we learned from last week is, don't let the adrenaline, the energy, and the excitement of getting a pole jade the focus that has to be given to race trim. Last week we just left too much of the tire aggressiveness in our car, and we chewed up our stuff. and so we were out there struggling, trying to hang on to the lead lap halfway through the race. So this week we just need to tone it down and go into a better race trim package and almost ignore the fact that we got the pole today.
Hi, Kurt. Tom Zaleski, Iron County Today. I heard the words ludicrous used to the speeds out there today, and you even said they were insane. Knowing that we're now heading for race trim and race runs on Sunday, how much fall off can you afford to have? How much are you expecting?
Yeah, that's Matt Yoakum and I joking around about the ludicrous speed and the insane speed. We came up with that years ago from the movie Spaceballs, so it's like our inside joke. But when we go fast in qualifying, it feels fast. And overall, I think this downforce package is almost the same with fresh tires. But when the tires drop off, that's when the pace decreases even that much more so. And so that's why race trim and Q trim are now two completely different trajectories. And therefore, we're all going to be slip sliding around, especially with the wind conditions. And once we all get out there together, 40 cars, that really stirs up the air, and everybody gets crossed up out there with the lower downforce.
Go over here, and then we'll go to Jerry.
Dominic Ottago on the RacingExperts.com. Based on your practice speeds and what you guys did in practice today, how confident were you that you would sit on the pole?
When you're in the mix, that's what I call it. You know, the Penske cars were 1-2, we were third. There's always a couple sleepers like Kenseth or Johnson. Larson was fastest last week, and then he didn't even advance to the final round. You never know. I just call it in the mix, and then you got to adjust the car to the current conditions, which would be hopefully round 3, and you're going for it. And so you always have to have the confidence you can do it, but it's mainly the trust in the team.
And go to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network and Kicking the Tires. Kurt, you showed up here fast, though. What did you pick up from that first test that you really liked with the car to where it sits down on the track and you're just turning really super quick laps out here?
I just hope I don't trend on how I've trended in the past. This is statistically one of my worst tracks for finishes. It's one of my best tracks for qualifying. The test session did help, but we were here to help Goodyear choose a tire that would give us the grip and the comfort that the drivers were looking for, as well as give us the opportunity to try to race side by side and to put on that good show that our fans are thirsty for. We want to see that. But at a track like this, where pace is so important, you got to make sure the fall off is proper with the tire, and that's what we were focused on at the Goodyear tire test. But all in all, I think we're benefiting from all the hard work behind the scenes from Stuart Haas committing to the 1.5 mile program and getting us where we need to be.
Do we have a final question for our Coors Light Pole Award winner? All right, Kurt, congratulations on winning the pole, and good luck on Sunday.
Great, thank you.